Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the tier 10 British battleship, the Conqueror, everyone's favorite and overpowered ship, even though it's been nerfed a little bit. Yeah, we finally made it. Finally have the tier 10, and she's good. I mean, she is powerful, and a lot of people despise her. And I don't really blame them. I mean, I have faced off against a Conqueror, and I understand how annoying it is for it to essentially come back from the dead, and that very high HE penetration and fire chance. But anyways, we are playing on Tears of the Desert once again, this time playing Domination. We have a Conqueror, 2 Yamatos, North Carolina Tirpitz, 2 Zhao, New Orleans, Edinburgh, Hipper, Shimakaze, and a Fletcher. On the enemy team, there's 2 Montanas, Kerfers, Alabama, Bismarck, Hindenburg, Zhao, Baltimore, Edinburgh, C-52, Yugamo, and a Benson. And don't really know why that Montana decided to open up, but he did, so that was kind of interesting. Now, I am joined with a clanmate of mine, Ty and his Zhao, and as probably, obviously, a lot of people already don't like the Conqueror, and anyone who has played her knows that it kind of feels like it's pretty much going for the lower common denominator of the World of Warship player base. That is kind of the thought behind it. She's not bad. Now, I am running the 419mm guns instead of the 457s for, well, a couple reasons. You could argue to run the 457s, but the only real benefit it would have been had you been overmatch bow armor like the Yamato does, and the Conqueror cannot do that with the 457s just due to the fact of the division of how it works out. So we are running the 419s. The 419s do offer 4 additional turrets, so you have, or 4 additional guns, so you do have 12 turrets, and you can see the dispersion is really nice on the Conqueror, and that HE is sick, downright sickening to see. Almost did 12,000 off that Montana and caused 2 fires. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. How powerful the HE guns are. Montana looks like he shot back at us, but did miss. Now, the Conqueror is obviously a decent battleship. She is, well, there's quite a few things good with her. Probably one of the nicest, besides the guns and the HE penetration. The AP is actually fairly decent. I would recommend, especially if you are in close quarters, use your AP, especially broadside against other battleships and cruisers. Your HE or AP will do citadels, so definitely trust your AP whenever possible. Now, the ship does have a really nice concealment, 12.1 with a 24.3 kilometer range guns, so you're able to disengage, but obviously there are destroyers nearby, and well, there's a destroyer on our team I'm not a big fan of at this moment. You'll see him later on. And probably one other thing about the Conqueror is, and unfortunately we won't get to see it in this battle, is the fact that her AA is actually really good. Now, her torpedo protection is left to be desired. And I do have to be careful because you can see all these torpedoes incoming, but usually the best way to avoid torpedoes is just move around, don't sail in a straight line, so usually you'll be fine. But she can't really take the hits of torpedoes, I guess, say, like the Yamato can, so you do have to be extremely careful, and you can see it being a little aggressive. I think the Conqueror is going to be a good close quarter ship. Her secondary guns aren't the greatest, that's to be certain. Don't rely on them too much, but with her low detection, such as it is, can really rack up the damage. Now, enemy Yugamo is spotted. Obviously that is going to be a more major threat. It looks like he's trying to get on the side, but does encounter the friendly Shimakaze and Fletcher. Yeah, not a big fan of this Shimakaze, because the Shimakaze was actually currently spotting the Yugamo. Now, one downside of the Conqueror is she does not have a plane. which is actually quite annoying because that would have been useful. And we only get 2 penetrations on that Yugamo, and even though that dispersion was actually really decent, fortunately we just don't get that good hit. Now unfortunately torpedoes are incoming, but I think because of the fact that we slowed up, we were able to avoid them. So that is a huge benefit from that. Now the Conqueror, as I have said, she is, I think she would be a good close brawler. The only really major downside is the fact that she, as you saw there, took a pretty big hit right there, only from a few shells. Did around 6,000 points of damage from that Baltimore, I believe. That Baltimore is extremely brave right now, pushing in like he is the fact that she doesn't have the highest amount of health pool. And especially against cruiser AP, at certain angles can do substantial amount of damage. So you do have to be extremely careful, but obviously it is help compensated due to the fact of the amazing heal that the Conqueror does have, albeit it's usually, or better yet, you will only regain full health back from light damage as this fire. And obviously fire is not a major threat to the Conqueror. Torpedoes are. The Conqueror, I will have to say, is kind of bad at trying to dodge torpedoes, but I think we are actually able to scrape by. Ooh, that was a little close there, but she is kind of a big ship. She does have a little bit difficult time just to get turn, so you do have to be extremely careful. Now we do have AP loaded for the Edinburgh. Look at that. Nice penetration damage. Almost brought this Edinburgh down. Trying to get our back turret around as quick as possible. Let's see. Can we get a second kill? Would be nice. Now, I have talked a lot about the health pool, about the Conqueror, and that's probably a major issue, I guess you could say, with other players, is the fact that she can repair such a large amount of health that it's almost similar to the Yamato as it used to be. If anyone remembers Yamato used to be able to heal a huge chunk of its health really substantially quickly. And it was powerful. It was extremely powerful, especially considering it had very powerful guns. The Conqueror's AP, as you saw there, does a decent job, but I think, especially at this angle, I think if I had waited just a moment as the angle kind of softens up, probably would have been able to deal slightly more damage. But we should hopefully finish off this Montana fairly quickly. There we go. Oh, that was our North Carolina. Can we finish this Montana? There we go. There we go. There's a kill. Second kill of the game. And we were citadeled. Yes, the Conqueror can get citadeled, and you do have to be extremely cautious whenever you are dealing with other ships. Now, unfortunately, I have just beached myself, or almost beached myself on this island, and I really wanted to get around for this Hindenburg, but unfortunately, we're going to have to take a slight rest here. I was going to allow the crew to go ahead and visit this village and maybe have some fun there while we're waiting to get our ship unstuck. Now, our team, I mean, we're doing a really good job. We are in a ship lead, but they do have more battleships than we do. Let's see, trying to kill this Zhao, but I think he was going a little bit slower than I anticipated. Yeah, unfortunately we don't get that third kill, which is highly unfortunate. That would have been nice. But now we are unstuck and we can get moving. Now, one major issue with the Conqueror and the AA, as I probably should mention, the AA is very, very powerful. However, her AA, at least the vast majority of its suite, is in the middle of the ship on the superstructure and can be knocked out relatively quickly, especially with the fact that HE can usually knock out any AA mounts that is on your ship. So especially in later portions of battle, later in the battle, a carrier could easily get in and focus down the Conqueror if it's taken substantial amount of HE damage. Now we have switched over to HE. I believe I was trying to take out or get a hit on the Montana. Let's see, can we get the Zao? There we go. Yeah. Oh my god, this HE is sickening. I mean, it's like the Minotaur in a lot of ways. The Minotaur is fun and, well, can be fun when you are playing it, but when you're up against it, it can be very aggravating. The Conqueror is kind of the same way. I don't know if they did that intentionally. I'm actually kind of curious. Now, I had hoped this Hindenburg would have kept turning as he was, but unfortunately he does decide to not make a full turn. Now we are in a interesting situation. We do have a Montana that is starting to come around, and I do have to be careful because I do not want to show him a lot of broadside. Let's see, angle is actually pretty decent, and let's see if we can get a Citadel. Citadel would be nice, and it is possible to Citadel Montana with AP, but we only get penetration values, and I mean, we did about 20,000 points of damage, which is actually really super nice. But obviously we have attracted attention of a few ships, and I do have to be careful. There are still destroyers around, and I actually technically have no help, as we just saw torpedoes were inbound. Now at this instance, the Montana has started to angle. I think switching over to HE would be a much better option. Let's see, trying my best. Let's see, there is a North Carolina showing us decent angle, but I think he is going to start turning away. Yeah, he does. So in fact, I'm going to switch over to the Montana. Let's see. Yeah, he's not going to be stupid. He is going to try to keep himself angled, and you can see that even at this angle, albeit it is about 20 to 30 degrees of an angle, yeah, your AP does have a difficult time, and 457s will not assist you with this. So honestly, just running the 419s, getting those additional guns is a much better option. Did switch over to HE, got a decent hit on this Montana, but we are in a very, very sticky situation. Don't want to show a lot of broadside, but don't want to continue down that path. I think I should have just slowed up, but fortunately for us, friendly Yamato does take out the enemy Montana, and now here comes Kerr first. Ooh, yeah. But hey, we did around 12,000 points of damage against that Kerr first, and we have knocked out one of his guns. So damage-wise, not too bad at the moment. We are burning a little bit, but honestly, with the Conqueror's amazing heal, it's not that big of an issue for us. So Conqueror, I honestly don't know how I feel about this ship. She's very powerful. Her armor at times can be fragile, but I mean, as long as you play it like how you're supposed to be playing it, angling your armor, you shouldn't have to deal with that issue that much. Now here, I will have to say, having a spotter plane, this is one thing I like about the Lion over the Conqueror, is the Lion does have a spotter plane to assist. Because we do know that there's at least a Benson over there, but we don't know where the Z-52 is. And that's probably my most major complaint about the Conqueror, besides obviously a few design features about the Conqueror, is the fact that she has no plane. I think at one time it was rumored she was supposed to have defensive AA, something like that, but obviously that would have made her extremely powerful. And it would have been another gimmick on the battleships. Now HE probably would have been a little bit better, and I think it was just due to the fact that I aimed a little bit further than what I expected this Bismarck to be traveling at, so we didn't get as much damage. But would have liked to continue, but it does look like the Bismarck is turning away, And at this time, this Bismarck's the only battleship left, and there are still 2 destroyers, and we still have 1 heal. So I'm gonna try to finish off this Bismarck. This Bismarck's trying his very best to take our friendly Fletcher, but you can see there are some ships aiming at us. More than likely is dropping torpedoes, so I am gonna start turning in and possibly move towards B. There we go, got another fire, and as you probably could have guessed, I don't use a lot of HE with Conqueror. It just makes me sick. To be frank, it makes me sick, but honestly, using HE is so powerful, and I do recommend using your HE whenever possible. Can we actually steal the skill? I almost feel bad, but fortunately, no, we don't. Oh, we're so close to cracking. We're actually 2 away. Had we got that Bismarck, we would have been 1 away, and that would have been superb. But at this time, as you can see, we're actually having a slight difficulty shooting down this fighter, this spottercraft. Now, if you did not know, the spottercrafts actually get buffed as they go up, or coming from higher tier ships. So they can take a little bit more damage than you would normally expect. And I honestly don't know how I'm still spotted. This is one thing I don't like, and I wish they would fix is... the plane that is spotting you is not being spotted. So yeah, HEL on the Z-52, torpedoes incoming. Yeah, I kind of guessed this. Yeah, she's a little wide, and did as much as I could, but the Z-52 goes down. So our team earned a victory. We brought home 415,583 silver, 13,727 XP, and 6,025 free XP. We earn fireproof as well as dreadnought. We did 152,440 points of damage, 110 shell hits, 3 kills, 8 fires, and 1 secondary hit. And this is something you're probably going to see a lot with the Conqueror is dreadnought and fireproof, especially due to the fact that you can heal a substantial amount of damage. So this is almost a good ship to get those flags if you want them. Dreadnought and fireproof, very nice to have. We were second on the team with a base XP of 1,998, only 10 experience points behind the friendly Yamato. As far as damage, 21,000 against the enemy Yamato. Zhao's around 4,000. Baltimore's around 4,000, and the other Montana that we saw, we did around 65,000. High explosive did around 48,464. Armor piercings almost 100,000, and our fires did around 4,869. So overall, not a bad battle. Definitely is a good aspect, good demonstration on its HE and AP uses. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the port. I will see you guys there. Alright everyone, welcome back to the port. And I know many people despise the Conqueror, saying it's too easy, and yeah, I have to agree, it is really freaking easy. There's not a lot of thinking to it, but I try to actually probably do what Wargaming wants you to do, where you're switching between AP and HE shells, and it's very powerful. Her AP is very viable. Don't forget your AP. I know your HE can do a pretty good job taking out targets, but your AP, especially against a broadside ship, and I just had a Lion learn the hard way not to do that with the Conqueror, and get upset about that. It's actually rather a bit funny. He called me a coward. But it's that or take on 3 ships at once. Yeah, I much rather focus you guys down one at a time. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the stats. Survivability, lowest of all the tier 10, 82,900. Armor is decent, 32 millimeters at the bow. Probably the nice thing is the 406 millimeters on the side. Let's actually grab our other tier 10 battleships, because technically I have them all. So Yamato obviously is going to have decent armor, especially bow on, but anytime it is shown a broadside, you will get those citadels. You will get taken down quite easily, especially against other battleships. Montana has a much lower citadel, As you can see, sits very far below the water. Kerfurs has a decent citadel. It's not as protected, but obviously it does have that nice turtleback armor, which does protect it. But at distance, at range, you can still get citadel. And then the Conqueror also has a decent below water citadel. So armor's not too bad. It also has a minute turtleback armor going on. It's not the greatest, but it has some. But probably the really downside is the fact of her torpedo protection is quite lousy, 30%. Yamato, I believe, has the highest 56%. Montana has 39%. And Kurfürst has the worst at 27%. So she really doesn't like the torpedoes. And, well, as many people who have played the Kurfürst will understand, but the Kurfürst obviously does have hydroacoustics and a much larger health pool than the Conqueror does. Main guns. She has 4x3, 419 millimeters. They have a 26.4 second reload time, which is pretty darn fast. They have a decent turn time, 40.2 seconds. Kinda usual for the British battleships. Max dispersion is 281 meters at a range of 24.3. The max HE shell damage is 7,200 with a 50% fire chance. And yes, they actually have a really good value on penetrating. So your HE will penetrate through even thicker armor compared to the other tier 10 battleships. I think besides maybe the Kurfürst has a similar value. I might be wrong on this. The AP is once again fairly decent, 1300, but it is the British battleship AP, so it has a much lower penetration, less likely to actually citadel against broadside targets unless you're within a decent range and they offer you a broadside. So do be aware to use your AP. That's one thing I will have to say. Velocity on the AP is 747 meters per second, while the HE is 792. So once again, guns have the unique trait of HE, but your AP is very viable. Secondary guns, you don't have a lot. You have 8 dual 134 millimeters. They have a range of 6.3 kilometers with a 9% fire chance, 1900 points of damage, 6.7 second reload time. Really, your secondaries are quite pitiful, so don't really rely on them, and not many people will be close quarter combat with the secondary guns. So yeah, they're there. Not particularly useful. Now AA, and I will be breaking myself up. Alright, so we're gonna quickly interrupt my, I guess technically future self. By the way, I love we have this now. Oh god. I love the horn. Now, one thing I do want to test, especially with the horn, is if the enemy team can hear you. I'm gonna bet probably they can. I will try to test that out when I can. But anyway, we're going to be taking a look at just the AA test. We have 4 Zuhos. Now, granted, obviously they are tier 5, but we'll see how they will handle up to the Conqueror's AA. Now, obviously, this does not have a full spec AA build. This is just kind of my standard battleship, more designed to be tanky than being a AA ship. So we'll see how things go. Okay, we are spotted. And let's see if we can deal with incoming dive bombers and torpedo planes. Now, obviously, one major thing, and I think actually I want to focus on the torpedo planes more than I want to focus on the dive bombers. Oh, good lord. What am I setting myself up to? Oh my god, look at this. Okay. Yeah, we're going to be eating. This ship does not like to turn. We're being cross-dropped. But, I mean, the A is doing pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and pop my heal because we're going to be eating a lot of damage here. So overall, I mean, you can shoot down planes quite readily, which is always really, really good. And I'm not even doing a fantastic job on knocking them out of the sky. It's like we have a dive bomber coming in the back. But you can see also how well the Conqueror deals with torpedoes. All that torpedo damage we just received, we can't repair it at all, which is unfortunate. And I'm hoping now we can maybe get back. Look, kamikaze. So, I mean, overall, not bad. AA can shoot down planes pretty decently, but you can definitely buff that up with certain captain skills as well as upgrades to the ship. So there's always that to be concerned. But obviously this is just a stock, well, not really a stock Conqueror, but has just the basic skills. You can definitely boost this AA. Getting a better range definitely would help it. We're gonna go ahead and jump back to where we were. I think is good enough demonstration on the ship, so I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, as you saw in the video, the AA is fairly decent, albeit they are tier 5 planes. Technically tier 4, I think, for the Zuho. And they can shoot down planes fairly readily. Now, obviously, as I did mention that I don't have a AA build for the Conqueror. I really went for survivability over AA because CVs are not highly relevant in this game. They're only seen every now and then. You do have 12 single 40 millimeters. They are going to be mostly on the bow and the stern, but you do have some within the actual midship. Then you have 4 dual 40 millimeters. They do have average damage as 102 and with a 3.5 kilometer range. And then you have 11 6 40 millimeters with the average damage of 321. These are probably your most damaging AA guns. They have a 3.5 kilometer range. And then your secondary guns offer additional support. Average damage is 68 with a 5.8 kilometer range. So probably, as I did mention, a lot of your AA mounts are within the midship and more likely to get knocked off and destroyed. And then your AA is pretty crippled. So you do have to be extremely cautious, especially when running around when there is a carrier. Late game, you are probably going to take a lot of strikes because your AA can't shoot down the planes fast enough or even able to. Alright, so maneuverability. She's decently quick, 31 knots. This is with the speed flak. I believe most of my tier 10 battleships run at 30 kilometers or 30 knots for the Conquerors, 31.5 for the Montana, and 28.4. So she is decently quick. Probably the most major thing is that rudder ship time, as per usual. Royal British battleships always have a terrible rudder ship time, 17.3 seconds. Turning circle radius is not the worst thing in the world. Conqueror has 1,050. The Montana has a little bit bigger, and the Yamato is actually the best out of all of them, which is actually rather amusing. So she is not the nimblest. I really will say the rudder ship time is probably going to be the most aggravating to deal with, but is just something you have to learn with British battleships. Alright, moving on to concealment. Concealment's actually pretty decent, as many people know. She has the best concealment compared to any of the tier 10 battleships, 11.8 kilometers. A little bit worse than the line was, but definitely the best against all the others. Detectability range by air is 12.1, which is actually rather bit interesting. You actually have a higher detection from airplanes than you do from ships, so that's actually rather bit interesting. Alright, detectability after firing guns in smoke is 16.7 kilometers, but once again, not very often you'll be using that. The Conqueror actually does offer an upgrade to the ship, and many people are aware of this. You can get the 457s. They will not overmatch bow armor like the Yamato does. It is just a little bit shy from that overmatching mechanic to actually work properly. This will increase the damage as well as the fire chance for the Conqueror increasing it to 65%. But, however, you lose 4 guns. So that is 4 shells that could offer additional fire damage. And yes, you get a higher fire chance with the additional guns. But honestly, I recommend just having those 4 additional turret guns. Those 4 additional guns just to get that higher chance of fire, because RNGesus is not always within your favor. Alright, so as per usual, main armaments mod 1. Once again, as I have mentioned before, this ship is more designed to be tanky than anything else, so I have gone for Damcom system mod 1, then aiming system mod 1, then Damcom system mod 2. Concealment expert is always beneficial, and then main battery modification 3, just to get the guns firing again a little bit quicker. As you may have noticed, and then as I have mentioned, the Conqueror does not have a plane, which is slightly aggravating at times, because I believe all the other tier 10s have the potential to run planes, and you do not. So you are at a slight disadvantage, because the planes can help spot incoming torpedoes or ships behind islands, or offer additional range, or better yet, shooting at things within smoke. So you kinda are at a disadvantage there, but don't want to make the ship too OP as it is. Alright, last but not least, Jack Dunkirk has not changed. This is my final build for my tier 10 battleship. Priority target. Recommend especially for anyone that is not running Jack Dunkirk. Expert marksman, just get your guns turned a little bit quicker. Since I do have Jack Dunkirk, that does increase the traverse speed by 1 degree instead of 0.5. Then Jack of all trades to get the heal, and obviously I shouldn't even mention the heal. That is very, very powerful to have. But this does, since it is Jack Dunkirk, give me a 10% to reload time of all mounted consumables. Then I have gone for Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent for the additional heal, Concealment Expert, and then Fire Prevention to reduce the chance of fire, as well as reduce the number of fires that can be on the ship at one time. Once again, just to make her a little bit tankier, you could, as far as captain skills, go for a AA build if you want them to have a better AA, because the AA guns are decent, especially your mid-range AA. But honestly, I just went for tankiness for the ship because she does have the lowest health pool compared to any of the other tier 10 battleships. Anyways, this is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.